Connecticut, David Gravel.
What's going on, guys? We're back here with another YouTube Live, an exciting one. We got Joey Logano coming on in a little while. We're going to have my buddy Johnny Morgillo, who is the leader of this Region 1 QMA developmental program. Erin Evernham was supposed to be on tonight, but she got sick. I guess her daughter was not feeling well, some sort of stomach bug, and got her sick. So we'll start off the show, and then we'll get Johnny in here for a little while. Then we'll have Joey joining in at 9 o'clock, and hopefully have Joey for about an hour to hour and a half, and we'll go from there. So just to talk and burn some time, how many of you guys watched the Chili Bowl? I know I did. It was definitely a great week of racing. Definitely seems like the tides are turning, and it's getting to be a lot of younger kids, and almost my generation of drivers are now the old guys or the veterans of the event. But it was really cool to see the girls run well with Kaylee Bryson and Jada Avedizian. She ran really, really good. Definitely looked like the car count was fine, and the crowd was fine. So I'm really happy that Torkinson kid was okay, because that was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen in an open wheel car. You see those old videos back in, the 60s, and the guys are flying out the cars, but they had no cages, where I could say I have never seen that happen ever. So I'm glad he's okay. Hopefully they could find out the reason why for what happened. There's obviously lots of rumors talking about it, but hopefully they could get down to the bottom of it, make sure nothing failed or anything, and we could all learn from the situation. So we were supposed to have at least 3 people on tonight from the Silver City 6. So me, Joey Logano, Ryan Preece, Erin Evernham, Bobby Santos, all came from the same track. Everybody kind of had a little bit of different paths. The track is called Silver City Quarter Midget Club in Meriden, Connecticut, and that's where we all started. My first year racing, Joey, that was his last year racing quarter midgets, and he moved to North Carolina after that. And I raced a lot with Johnny, who'll be on today. We are pretty much whole childhood. He's a few years older than me. We raced, let's see, from 99 to 05, we raced together in quarter midgets, and then we moved up together pretty much at Whip City in Massachusetts and ran micro sprints. So that was a lot of fun. Johnny was like one of my bigger brothers growing up. Bobby Santos, he took a different route. He kind of went asphalt route. Obviously, Erin Evernham went the dirt racing route, and then Ryan Preece did the modified stuff locally in the Northeast, and then had a couple chances in NASCAR, won an Xfinity race or two, and now he's driving for Stewart Haas Racing. So even though we're all from the same area, we all took different approaches, and for the most part, everybody's been pretty successful in their own ways. And also, I forgot Doug Coby. He's probably top 3 or 5 best modified racer in the Northeast ever. I believe he won the modified wheel and modified tour several times. So there's definitely been a lot of talent that was coming out of Meriden, Connecticut, for sure. And it's really, really cool to see. So I'm going to branch back to the Chili Bowl. So obviously there's all sorts of drama talking about the Chili Bowl and stuff like that. But, you had people like Tyler Courtney, Chase Elliott, David Gravel, Brad Sweet, Ricky Stenhouse, Justin Allgaier, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Donnie Schatz, Carson Macedo, and Ryan Newman out there. Now, I don't know if you guys think that is a big deal or not. Sorry, I'm adjusting I just got a brand new camera. Let me know if it looks better for you guys, but I got a 4K camera, and hopefully you guys like the audio is a little bit better, and hopefully you like the video as well. It looks like it's plenty bright in here. It's bright on my side. But Yeah, did you guys see a difference of the big name guys not being there, or did you enjoy the Chili Bowl just as much as you always have? So I'm not getting many questions right now, which is surprising. Oh, here we go. Oh, it didn't load for me. Okay, now we're all back. Let's see what you guys say. This week is extremely boring compared to last. Yeah, that's for sure. How you doing, Mike, Marie, Kelly, Mark, DJ, Jerry, Rick, Joe Nicholson? Thank you for the 1 month membership, a new bronze member. So thank you for joining the channel and having commitment to the channel. I'm able to do things like this, like buy a brand new camera and reinvest into what I'm doing to make for a better show. So thank you guys. Yeah, I missed the Chili Bowl, so I'll probably be back next year. Having Levi with a newborn, definitely had to be home for the wife and take care of the kids. So it was really good racing with the expectation of twice when it took rubber. Yeah, obviously that many cars, it's hard for the track to be good every time. For there's so many laps, right? Heat races, qualifiers, C mains, B mains, A mains. It's just a lot of cars. So it's one of those things. You just got to battle through it, and it's dirt racing. That's the one thing that kind of sucks is um, you can't control it all the time, right? It's dirt, it dries out, and sometimes it reacts differently. So there's positive and negatives with you know um, dirt versus asphalt. Asphalt's gonna be very consistent. You probably can't run the outside of the track, and the track conditions don't really change. But on a dirt track, they are always changing, and to me, it promotes bigger racing. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties the first time tonight. My buddy Johnny is at somebody's house that doesn't have great Wi-Fi, so he tested it out before, and he was extremely glitchy, and the sound was really, really bad. So we're doing our best to make it all work. So let's get back in this comment section here. What do we got going on? Jimmy, thanks for joining. Jim, Mark, E Racing, John, Rusty, Tom, Michael, Ron, the Chaz is in here. Chaz gave me the plug where what camera to get. So thank you to Chaz. Shelly, Rich, Dutch, how are you guys doing? Yeah, if you can, we're gonna try to build the chat up and build the people watching up. But if you could just exit out of the chat, give the video a thumbs up, and then you could hit the share button and you could post that on any of your platforms. It's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, Snapchat. You can do all those things. Also, I always got to say it. Thank you to my sponsors, Moose's LZ Bar and Grill in Jonestown, Pennsylvania. If you're from PA or ever going to PA and passing through, you got to go check them out. The Moose Burger, barbecue sauce, onion rings, and bacon. It's an unbelievable burger. They have all sorts of food. You could have bar food, or you could have steak, lobster, stuff like that. So check them out. The link is in the bio, and you could check out their menu and see if it's something that you guys like. Also, got to thank Marlowe's Metal Fabrication in Dover, Pennsylvania. They came on board. They were our first sponsor of the channel, and I appreciate them. But if you need any metal fabrication, they do a lot of tins and sheet metal work, but they could literally do probably anything you want with metal. So check out Marlowe's, and thank you guys for the sponsorship. And we got another one working, so I'm excited. Hopefully we could get all the stuff ironed out this week, and we'll have a new sponsor to show you guys for next weekend. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Joe Applegate, he says, I'm not asking you to speculate on AT, but I saw Brad Doty and Kaylee Bryson say this has happened. Torgensen, okay. Happened to him in practice before. Can you explain how this might happen? I mean, there's a couple things that could possibly happen. One, if your seat belts on your lap belt were bolted in the chassis, say they were never tightened, that could be a reason why. The seatbelts could have tore, but I've confirmed from the people the seatbelts were not torn at all, so that's not an issue. Another something that could happen is the latch could be undone, or got undone somehow. But from what I've been told, that's not what happened. So I'm gonna say possibly he didn't latch his belts. I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly what happened. That's their business, and I'm sure whoever made the manufacturer of the seat belts would like to put them through testing or check them out, and you'll be able to tell the tale probably pretty easily. If you do it for a living, you know if those belts been stretched or not. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I know he didn't wear arm restraints, so I bet you the truth or the information will come out at some point. But there needs to be like an investigation and the right people looking at the stuff. So, were you guys surprised to see Logan Seavey win the Chili Bowl? Obviously, um, pretty connected with that team. So Tim Bertrand with Bertrand Motorsports in the Northeast races Nemo Wing Asphalt Midgets. And then they started going to IRP with the USAC races, non-wing. And, they did okay. But they've sponsored the Swindells teams for multiple years, supplying them with an engine. And um, I guess they wanted to build their own car this year. Sammy kind of had his two cars, and then Kevin built his own this year, and they're kind of separate entity now. So Tim Bertrand, I know, purchased that car, purchased that motor. Kevin built it and got all the sponsors to support the rest, and they had a great winning combination. So it was really cool to see Logan Seavey win. I really like him. He's a good driver. Um, you know, I knew they had a shot after the race of champions. Their car was really, really fast, and it was definitely really cool to see. Let's see. Hello, David. Chris with the 22 Shelby Heritage in Concord, North Carolina. Chris, what's going on? Christy, yes, he was very lucky. Rich, super cool win for the Bertrand family. I mean, I don't think anybody's ever, first year in the building and they win. That's pretty hard to do, especially today. Do you like Justin Ashley, Doug Coletta, Antron Brown, Josh Hart, Alex Laughlin, Austin Prock, Clay Milliken, Steve Torrance, Jim Maroney, or Buddy Hull, top field drivers? I can't say I know any of those guys. Oh, I know Austin Prock, so I'd probably go Austin Prock, but I actually don't know anybody else other than that. I know, I was speaking to Robert Height, obviously, Cruz Pedregon, J.R. Todd's a good friend of mine. So I guess they're mostly funny car guys that I watch. Ron Capps as well. He's a really good dude. David, are you going to race the high limit series at Huset's? As of right now, I'm not sure. I think we were planning on no, but we haven't made that decision yet. Dustin Miller, Danny D coming off the porch. Yeah, I see he dropped the news today with his schedule with a new team. And yeah, but he's driving different cars, so he just could fly off the porch instead of driving. That makes it a little bit easier. Will Levi make an appearance tonight? Possibly, maybe, maybe not. We will see. Let's see here. My buddy is still struggling. 1 second. Just gonna text him real quick. Yeah, so it's a bummer Erin Evernham couldn't make it, but next week we're probably gonna have Erin Evernham, Ryan Preece, and Doug Coby. So we'll have four of us total, and we might have Johnny come in as well and just guide these guys or talk about, because Johnny's a little bit older than me, so he was able to kind of see everybody through the quarter midget deal. But he's definitely one that has a lot of the information on the program, and yeah, I think it'll be really good. So this week it only worked for everybody's schedule for Joey Logano to do it and Aaron, but it was a bummer. She tweeted out in Wing Nation and all that stuff that she was going to be on tonight, and it just doesn't work out. Yeah, I had Todd send me a text. He's at Doug Coby's house, actually house sitting for him, and his Wi-Fi is so bad. He's talking like a robot. The audio is terrible, so it just wasn't very good. Let's see. Any trips to the drag strip this off season? You definitely been busy enough. No, my Mustang's down. The engine has to get rebuilt, so we're not ready with that. And then my Coyote swap notchback is taking longer than expected. And my goal is hopefully to go to the track after we go to Volusia the first time. So sometime late February, hopefully, is my goal to get to the track. Can we get the World of Outlaw drone pilot for a guest? I don't really know him personally, but I'm sure you'd love to come on the show. Invited to my first fish fry at Atomic Memorial Day weekend, same spot as last year. I'll see you over for the fish fry. I'll come say hello. There goes the pink slip offer for my Camaro. Oh, that's funny. Still waiting for WRG before setting your schedule. Yeah, I mean, really good chance that we do run for the World of Outlaw Championship, but we're just waiting for all the details to come out, and once they make their decision, they kind of been dragging their feet on the whole deal, and we're just waiting to hear from them. I'm guessing, Brad Sweet announcing the World of Outlaws that he's going to be running for a championship. I'm going to say probably because Napa wanted them to run the World of Outlaws. That's kind of why they sponsored them in the first place. Well, Brad had a connection with Napa, but probably his sponsor probably wanted to, want their team to run the World of Outlaws. And financially, it makes a lot of sense. And if he goes to 8 high limit races, that's nearly all of them. So I think that would probably be a good deal for him. Rusty, you want Chase Rodman on here? Yeah, maybe we could have Chase on here. Maybe Chase Rodman and B Walks, maybe. Bring Walkipedia, as you guys might know. Jill, you could bring Levi if he's awake. We'll bring Levi in to burn some time too, because everybody loves a cute baby. DG, when are we getting that sneak peek in the 23 car? So we're not going to release anything on the car until it's wrapped, so we can do cool pictures or video. So just stay tuned for that. Hopefully in a few weeks, that will be done. If in really a few weeks, shoot, that's going to be Volusia time. So I'm going to say in a week or two, we're going to hopefully have it all wrapped up for you guys. Here's baby Levi. Look at dude. Say hi. Do you see yourself? Huh? What is that bright light? Huh? He's getting bigger, guys. He loves looking at bright screens. He'll watch TV now. We watch the Chili Bowl. Yes, my car is going to be black with orange on it. That is a guaranteed. Levi, why don't you smile? Smile for everybody. Say hi. He's getting big. He's got blue eyes like his dad. There's a smile. Who's a good boy? Who's a handsome boy? Yeah. Got a little drool action going on, but Levi's doing good. He likes to stand, play around. He's starting to make noises now, which is cool. He's turned to a little man now, so everything's going great. He's healthy. We got an appointment with him, I believe, next week for his 3-month appointment, so should be good. All right, so I think Johnny says he's good to go. Hopefully he's in the studio. Yeah. I need a napkin. Or a cloth. He's just drooling a little bit. Levi is 3 months old. Huh. He's a little bit too short to sit on my lap, and then you can't see him anymore. There we go. We got a magic arm wiping the baby. Bobby Joe Wren, did you watch any of Brock Searfoss's racing at Bunbury Speedway? You should have Brock Searfoss on your show. I'll probably have Brock on at some point. I want to do this maybe throughout the season on weekdays when we got not much going on. So we'll see. Are you talking? You talking on the show? So we'll have Brock on eventually, especially that Moose's LZ is sponsoring the show. It'll be good to have him on. But it's kind of hard. Man, doing this more than once a week makes it tough because we give up our whole night and then we got to set up schedules with everybody. But um, like I said, I think that we're going to do this probably. Oh yeah, probably throughout the season. I think it's been very popular. A lot of people like it, so I think it'll be a good deal for sure. He knows a good idea when he hears one. Yeah, that's for sure. Are you still going to do the pre/post race videos? They are killing it. Yeah, so this is just an addition to the channel. I felt like we were pretty stale this year. Our views weren't that great on YouTube, and I felt like I had to do something this off season to help grow the channel. And Joke, I have the napkin. Um, so I felt like I needed to do something, and I did a live stream or a couple live streams before by myself, and they went good. But once we did the Q&A type deal and had a guest on the show, I feel like, sorry, I believe I screwed up my shirt here. That it was popular. Like Tyler Swank isn't that well known in the whole world of racing, and the show did good. And then we had guys like, Brad Sweet and Rico and then Kyle Larson, and it really blew up. So I feel like it's a good thing. We'll continue to do the race day vlogs with the GoPros and all the stuff in between. And yeah, we'll keep building it up. I think with gaining a lot of subscribers this off season, we gained about 2,500 subscribers in the last couple months. So really, really lucky. Appreciate you guys for the love. And if you're just joining now, please share the stream on your guys' platforms. You got to exit out of the chat, give the video a thumbs up, and then hit share. And you could copy the link and you could post it wherever you like. All right, so Johnny is backstage, so I think he's ready to come in here shortly. So when he comes in, we will start talking about the quarter midget program that he has started, the motivation behind it, what the future goals are, and stuff like that. Dustin Miller, hey DJ, wanted to say thank you. The free Billion Automotive T-shirt Jackson Nationals, that was awesome. Well, you got to thank Billion Automotive. They're the ones that purchased the shirts, and it worked really, really good. Man, the shirts went extremely fast, and yeah, it was definitely a big hit. So maybe Billion will want to do that this coming year. Hope you could run the high limit Kokomo race. That's a possibility. I like Kokomo a lot, but we will see. We will see. Definitely going to Lernerville. That's one. And the Eldora Million. That right? We're gonna race for $1 million, Levi. What are you gonna do if we won all that money, huh? We're gonna pay taxes? Huh? Could you smile? Say, I'm a handsome boy. I'm a handsome boy. SRX at Stafford. That would be a cool homecoming. I've never raced at Stafford. I would like to. But yeah. I don't know if it'll happen. That's why I want Erin on here. I was going to put some pressure on her if Ray could get me on XRS. SRX, I'm sorry. Let's see. I just got to text Carter real quick. I don't know why he's not sending him in. Maybe he's away from the computer at the moment. But taxes are overrated. Yes, that's for sure. Why does Levi look like Cody? That's hilarious. What's up, Johnny?
What's up?
Did you get on the other laptop? You get on the other computer?
I hope it's better.
Yeah, you look better.
Well, thanks.
the mic is still a little quiet, but it's a lot better than it was before, and the video quality is good.
All right, I think this is the best we're gonna get.
Yeah, that's fine. At least we're here, and it's working out.
Hey, so guys, if you're watching, I think Levi looks just like you with the little thin comb over.
I know. He lost his hair. He had so much hair when he was born, but it's all going away. So, guys, this is Johnny Morgillo, pretty much an older brother for over half my life, from 1999 to probably 2007, 2008, probably. He raced his whole life until he was about, 17 or 18, maybe?
I stopped racing late models when I think I was like 19 or 20.
19 or 20. So Johnny raced, then decided to start his own business. And, guys, racing is expensive. then was kind of out of racing a little bit. His sister raced at Stafford, Nicole Morgillo, so he was involved a little bit there. But from there, your best memories as a child or your upbringing was at the quarter midget track. So I know you have a lot of passion for the program and why you decided what you wanted to do. Obviously, you don't have kids, but your sister does. But that wasn't enough for you. You decided take the bull by the horns and try to revitalize Meriden, where, as I said before in the show, guys, all these super talented people have come from Meriden, and the way the program or the track was ran, it got really dwindled down to car counts, and they had to merge classes together. So there was no like junior or senior or light or heavy. They had to morph them all into one just to have somewhat of a full field in the class. And Johnny saw that. And Johnny, I guess, started off by, what gave you the idea to get involved? Because obviously this is extremely time consuming. It's definitely not a money maker for you. Luckily, you're successful in other ways of life. But yeah, tell me why, how.
All right. So, like David said, I grew up racing at Silver City. Me and my sister started in '96. There's a lot to be said about quarter midget racing that makes it special. But the biggest thing for me was it really brought my family together. We really connected over racing, and a lot of the families at the track became family. Like David, he was like one of my little brothers. It's not like any other sport. It gives you something to care about. The kids that don't really find their niche in sports like soccer and baseball, they usually end up finding something here in quarter midget racing. But yeah, it was really special to me. And in 2005, I went on to race sprint cars and then late models, and I got involved with my sister, and then I needed to start making money. So I left the sport and I got away from it for a while. And then my sister had these twins, and they were about 4.5 years old. And we knew we wanted to give them a similar experience to what we had. And this was during COVID. So I had some extra time on my hands, not working full time in the gym. So I drove by Silver City just to check things out. I hadn't been there in a long time. And I thought that people were there just practicing. But I come to find out it was a race day, and it was just really, really different. So I told my sister, I think our best bet is to check out the Wild Thing carts at Stafford. And after talking, we both agreed that we wanted to do something at Silver City. And I started drawing these parallels between my gym and quarter midget racing. So I own a gymnastics gym. It's been very successful. And basically, in order to have a successful competitive program, it's all about building the base. So the first competitive level is 3. You always want to have as many level 3s as possible, because that's the future of your program.
Yep.
And it's got to be treated the same way with racing. So how do we get more kids involved? How do we build that base, which in quarter midget racing is novice?
Yep.
And I think it's a no-brainer. The reason why people don't get involved in the sport is because of the money. Just to get on the gate, you're dropping, $3 to $5 grand. So you address that one issue, and more people, you suddenly you have their attention.
Yep.
So many kids want to be a race car driver. They just never have the opportunity.
Yep.
So how do you make racing comparable to, a recreational sport like wiffle ball?
Yep.
You got to compete with those prices.
Yep.
So I'm like, I still have a quarter midget. I still have my 99 Nervo. It sat in a shed for 20 years. So if I still have a 20-plus-year-old quarter midget, I mean, you still have your Nervo from your first year of racing, you know? So it got me thinking, if I could connect with as many alumni as possible and see who still has cars, then maybe I could put a little fleet together and start, you know, renting these cars out for very little to, you know, to get kids into the sport for less. To at least eliminate that one excuse, racing's too expensive. So I started this Facebook page to get as many alumni together as possible and to ask the question, who still has equipment? And people started coming out of the woodwork. You know, I still got a couple cars lying around. I still have these cars sitting behind my shed. And then I started posting on all these forums, you know, who has used equipment, who has used cars. I'm trying to start this program for a local racetrack, and people started messaging me. And I knew I wasn't going to spend more than $500 per car. Before you know it, I mean, one of the alumni that showed early interest, Dan Kaminsky, he drove out to Georgia, he drove out to Pennsylvania. He ended up picking up like 15 cars. And then the rest to form the fleet came from alumni members from that Facebook page. And that first year, we ended up with over 30 cars. I knew the number that I was shooting for was 30 because I did research and looked back in the archives of when Silver City was in its prime. And it's when we always had 30 plus novices every year.
Yep.
So those novices, they just filter into your competitive classes. And, you know, before you know it, you have a thriving membership. Every field is full. So we got those cars together. They were in rough shape. A lot of them sat outside for over a decade. I had a lot of help from Marty Membrino. You know Marty. He helped us out a lot when we raced quarter midgets. But me and him worked around the clock. So like I would go there after work, 8 p.m. to like 2 in the morning, and work on those cars and get them ready for him to come in the morning. And we never were in the shop together, but somehow managed to get over 30 cars together. I started posting all over Facebook that I'm starting this program. And then before you know it, all the cars were spoken for, and we had over 30 novices that first year.
Yeah, that was going to be my question is, if you had 30, were they all signed up? And that's pretty awesome. So after the first year, you're like, shit, I need to grow this fleet even more.
Yeah, so after the first year, we actually only lost one kid. Everybody came back.
Oh, and they bought their own stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that gave me the idea of phase 2. If you come back with at least one of your own cars, we'll support you towards running as many divisions as possible.
Yep.
So I started collecting bull riders. And, you know, bull rider race cars is near and dear to guys like you and me who raced for the Fitzes in the early 2000s. They definitely changed both our programs. I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
But I knew that I wanted to represent bull rider, and I started finding all these bull rider race cars, and they haven't changed much over the years. I started updating them, and basically I picked any kid that seemed to be ready to race more than one car, and started quickly rebuilding all the competitive classes. So, I mean, I'm not going to bore everybody with all the numbers, but we started the season with full fields, almost full fields in every class. We ended the season with more than full fields in every class because of the phase 2 tier of this program. I mean, when I came back to Silver City, the membership, I think, was sub 40. I think the last race of the first year, we had 89 sign-ins. Our most successful weekend this year, we had 174. And we're expecting over 200 this year. So that's in a really short amount of time.
So literally you're just times it by 2 every year. Started with 30, then you got to 80, and then you're over 100 in year 3, and now you're trying to get to 200.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, the growth isn't going to stop with the
Yeah.
program. You know, you bring in at least 30 new families every year, and then you watch those kids closely throughout the season. Whoever seems to be showing decent ability and potential to progress quickly, we try to get them in a phase 2 car.
Yep. So what was the number of, so you're saying there was only 40 entries when you started out this deal?
Probably
Roughly?
40, yeah.
Wow. And then now this year you had about what, 120 every week or something like that, roughly?
We averaged 130, 135 weekly.
Yeah. So guys, this company, right? So is the track a nonprofit company?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So obviously they need to make money to have these events, pay the workers. I know there's a lot of volunteers, but pay for the trophies, turn the lights on, put food in the concession stand. And this is all done by memberships. Each family paying a membership. And if you have no teams or no cars there, then the budget's pretty low. So it kind of all goes hand in hand. And the more people you have, probably the more people that will do it for free to help out, and it just makes the deal a lot better. I remember all of our parents would work in the concession stand or flag, kind of be involved in the daily stuff of running the racetrack. Where remember one year my mom's uncle cut a bunch of trees down. Like we were always trying to make the place better. My dad made one of the original signs at Silver City, so it's definitely cool. And obviously,
but they turned it around.
yeah, I know. And then obviously
Yeah,
Joey
question while we're on the subject.
Yeah.
You probably can't answer it, but I noticed in one of those banquet books where it lists the board of directors on the second page. How did you guys manage to have your dad, your mom, Randy, Earl, and Julie all on the board?
Really?
Yeah.
My dad's a good sweet talker, I guess.
Oh man, because they definitely aren't having no family members on one board now.
I know. Maybe that's why I won driver of the year every year for a lot. Maybe they rigged the voting.
They had to.
Because it was like me and your sister every year or a lot of the years.
I got driver of the year twice.
Oh, did you? Okay. I don't know how many times I got it, but I remember it was a few times, and if I didn't get it, I was upset. I know that.
Yeah, I think you got like cutest driver or something.
Johnny.
Best dressed.
All right, so we got people asking. Rusty asks, Johnny, do you have a website to donate? So Johnny could tell you, but if you go in the bio, there should be a link with his email and or a link for his Facebook page. And I'm sure, and then also you could scan this right here. It's a QR code for PayPal. And then the other one is what, Johnny? Venmo?
Yeah, so we're set up on all those platforms. We are a 501c3 organization, and everything we do is based on the donations we receive.
Yep. So Rusty said in the comment section, Johnny, do you have a website? Donate. I'm sure it's a 501c3. He said, yeah. So he's all over it. Obviously, so you're talking about this phase 2 program. For you, do you keep building and pushing the quarter midget deal, or I know you have bigger aspirations to try to take that next step, and that's how it gets super tough in racing. Is the bigger the car, almost the more money it is, and then hauling them around, or who could have a big trailer to haul these cars around. So, I mean, what's your ultimate goal on this? I know that in 2023, there are less new race car drivers every year. One, because the expense. Two, because there's so many other things going on. Kids are making millions streaming video games, right? Like there's just so much other shit going on in today's world that it's hard for a family to go to a racetrack if they are not mechanically inclined at all, for one. And then two, the kids got to have a decent amount of focus and want to do it. So I think it's a huge overtaking to take that first step and to start racing, because soccer is easy, right? You could run around in a field and not be good or be great, but you could still do it and go through the motions. And your parents just have to buy a pair of cleats, some shin guards, and then you go for it. Where the racing community is actually so damn small in comparison to all these other sports. So I think that's why you saw the decline of quarter midget racing overall, because one, the cars got more expensive. Everybody's got carbon fiber, and we had trick stuff back in the day, but now everybody's got the gas shocks. Like, yes, we had gas shocks back then, but not everybody.
We didn't start with gas shocks.
No, we didn't start. So it was very rare for somebody to have gas shocks. So now it's just very, very expensive. So I guess what is your outlook in the future? What is your goals? I know we talked about it a little bit before, but what's the aspirations moving forward?
So, I mean, just to rewind a little bit, like phase 2, it just really supports my overall mission, and that's to maximize the potential of all these drivers. Like, you've got your 30 novices that come in every year, and not all of their families are going to be able to support them to their potential. You know what I mean? So, like, you've got Joe Schmo over here, who's actually a really talented driver. But like, if he's able to come back the next season, his parents are barely going to scrape by with just getting his own car, So like, I really like to pick out those kids and try to give those kids the opportunity to contend with the families that could give their, mediocre driver 4 cars, So, I mean, that's a really important piece to me. Just giving equal opportunity to deserving kids that show the potential. They should have the same opportunity as the families that have the means to provide, the maximum that you can do in this sport. Like right now, you could race 4 cars. You have some kids that, they're not all that, but they're racing 4 cars. And then you have that one kid that was in your novice program that was really, really good, but they can't, their family can't swing. They just can't compete with that other family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's important. That we have to do more to help kids like that. My ultimate goal for this program is for kids to make it because they're good, not because mom and dad have deep pockets. And don't take that the wrong way. I mean, if mom and dad have deep pockets, they worked hard to have deep pockets, but
not the kid's fault.
Yeah, exactly. But phase 2, like it's targeted. At first, it was targeted to quickly restore all the competitive classes. And that goes back to, providing these kids with the best competitive experience that we could give them. They're going to get better racing with more cars. So we got to give them more cars to race with. But beyond this, and, what I'm trying to get off the ground here is all these families, they got into the sport. And like you said, a lot of people don't take the leap because they're intimidated. They don't have any knowledge. We try to support those families with seminars and educating them on the basics. But, we introduce them to the sport they had a good deal. They had a complete car, and, if they're in phase 2, they got a really nice piece. If they're going to continue in the sport, they're going to want something similar. You know what I mean? So, what we're trying to build here is a pipeline. Ideally, I could pick a couple of kids every year to go into the next phase, whether that be Legends cars or street stocks. who knows? It's all talk right now. But if a kid shows ability and they look like they're ready, we want to support them towards what's next and
Yep.
keep moving up within that pipeline. And then, hopefully people start recognizing that it's more important to invest in the development of a driver rather than focusing on what drivers can bring money to a team.
Yeah, that's just tough nowadays. I learned that all on the NASCAR side, and Toyota kind of took NASCAR by storm because they did invest in a lot of drivers that they believed had a lot of talent. And now they ended up with so many damn good ones, they had nowhere to put these people. Where, some other manufacturers, I feel like Toyota made Ford step up and Chevy, but there's no really support on the lower level, right? Like, you don't even know how many good kids are out there as drivers if they never even drive a car. So it's
Exactly. So like we're making the talent pool much bigger. The kids have a way of getting into the sport, and I want to give them a way to be seen.
Yep.
More or less. So I mean, there's a lot of good kids racing at Silver City right now. A lot of talented kids that could go really far. We got to lay the bricks down to help them along.
Yep, for sure. So we got Joey is in backstage. We're gonna get him in. Luckily, he got home a little bit early. I'm guessing it was media day for NASCAR because everybody was sending pictures that it was media day. So we'll get Joey Logano in here, and we'll talk about early life in racing, what he has done for the racetrack. His dad and stuff like that has done a lot of things. So, we're excited to have Joey on. I can't thank him enough. Tell your friends. We only got 327 people watching. We got to get this thing over 1,000. Tell your people.
For the one of Joey Logano as he works up off turn 4, he'll be bringing home the win. Joey Logano in the one.
Joey, what's going on?
I love the intro.
I know.
What's
Logano.
I know it.
Make sure you show his interview from his Grands win at Wall.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. We're like one-word answers when we're little kids. We're so damn nervous.
I get it now. I was actually I went up to Millbridge tonight with my son, and he was up there making some laps for a little bit. And
oh, nice.
He's 5, so it's kind of funny how he's at the top of the stairs right now, not going to sleep actually. So they have a mind of their own at 5 years old, and the funny things you say and do is hilarious. So we had a good time.
That was one of my questions for tonight. Was I seen the videos of like that little go-kart you had in your backyard, and he's hauling ass through there. And did he bike up one time or almost crashed? I thought.
Not bad. Well, he's flipped. So we got a little yard cart at home.
Yep.
And my little man says I'm being loud. How about that?
Nice.
No, so I got him a little yard cart just to buzz around in the backyard, and that thing bit one day, and up in the air it went. It's like, oh geez, I bought armor. I got the arm restraints I had when I raced quarter midgets, the same one. Okay, we'll put those on you now. So now he's got the arm restraints from, I don't know, 95 or 6.
Yeah, that's cool. So what's he going to run, a box stock at Millbridge eventually?
Yeah, we went up there and raced a couple weeks ago now. And it's a cadet class. I don't know a whole bunch about it.
Yeah.
But he went up there and ran, and it was fun to watch him. And down here there's a lot of different kinds of racing, right? I mean, for kids, so many different ways to get in, and it's not like that everywhere. It's not like that at when you go to up north or out west, right? Like we're more limited, and it's hard to get into it. And I've even realized that here recently, that like as much as I know about racing, I know nothing about the little outlaw cart he's running. Or if I was to get back into quarter midget, like I don't even know who to talk to. Where do you get tires? Where do I get an engine? Where do I get a car? What kind of car should I get? How much air do I put in the tires? Like like things that like have no clue. What gear do you put in it?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And you're involved in racing. You're a race car driver, right? Imagine a family that's never raced anything ever. Like they're
Yeah.
totally screwed.
Yeah, and like that's where I think Johnny's doing a good job is giving everybody at Silver City like the easy way to like get started. Like here's everything you need. Like here's boom, here's the kit. Here's what you do. Here's a novice class. Like I feel like that's where they're missing it a little bit down here. Is like these kids don't even know. Like my kids, like I don't know, when do I go? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you guys like, but there's no class to teach them that.
Yep.
So, you know, so having what they do up there seemed to work really well.
Yeah, you learn the basics. I remember you had the cones out in the track. You got pushed around, and then you got to fire it up, and hopefully you stayed in between the cones.
Right.
Sometimes people were in the infield or hitting the wall. It just
Yeah. And what I've learned is that no kid listens to their parents. I put the cones out. There's another kid there, and the kid's running the cones like he's supposed to. I'm like, all right, that's cool, and I'm teaching him along. And then my kid, he's weaving through them like a slalom course.
Oh, nice,
What are
nice.
we doing?
Yeah, that's hilarious. So you left quarter midget racing in 1999, I believe, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was my first year. So I maybe saw you once or twice. I know Johnny had more of a relationship with you at a younger age because he was close to the same age as you.
Hang on.
Yeah, you're
I'm out in the kitchen here. Hang on a second. I'm moving my office to the
Yeah, he's
bedroom.
pissed off, it sounds like.
It's past his bedtime is the deal here. So we're gonna do an interview in bed. How's that sound?
Hey, people have
in bed with Joey Logano. Have you ever?
Kyle Larson peed on my stream, so it's all good.
Well, that don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Now we could say we were in bed with Joey.
Yeah. Let's not say that.
So it's today media day.
We did media day yesterday, and then today is kind of like the second part of it. And so half the drivers did media day today, half of them did it yesterday. The other part is the Fox hanger shoot, they call it, where they do all the the like when they go to commercial or come back, or they do like some kind of highlight, and they have like the cool background and effects and all that stuff. They did all that today, which is it's incredible. You ought to see the sets they built for this. It's just nuts. So really cool. Did that, and we're getting ready for we're going out to Phoenix next week to do a test. So that's exciting. We don't get to do those very often anymore these days. So I'm excited to try that out and knock a little rust off. I did drive my Legends car tonight. That was a blast.
At Millbridge?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, really? Wow.
So
was it hard to get it turned and rotated?
Doesn't want to turn. Nope. You gotta. It's actually incredible how close it is to a cup car, because it doesn't. I don't have a bunch of stagger in it or anything like that, right? So you got to. The rear end doesn't move like a late model. It is like. It's like a cup car. Everything's stationary. Yep. And so you got to drive it with the pedals a lot to get the thing pitched out there. You got to sling it back in there hard, and which is good for me, right? Like I'm not going to go race late models anytime soon, or modifieds or sprint cars, and so I wasn't the fastest guy there, but I've had a lot of fun just practicing my craft to be ready for Bristol.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you did all right at Bristol, didn't you?
Yeah, it went all right. All right. I got a first and a third. First and a third in those ones.
That's not bad.
Great. Yeah.
That's
it's a lot of
good.
fun for a guy that grew up on asphalt my whole life. I have enjoyed the dirt stuff a ton, and there's so much to it. Like it's so backwards to everything else I've done. Right, to how you drive the car, and then there's like phase 2 of like learning the dirt and understanding like where you need to be and like what it looks right, and then trying to set your car up. Some things are similar to asphalt, some things are completely backwards from what you're used to, especially where you put the weight and stuff. Just crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different, for sure. So we won't keep Johnny on here like the whole time. He's been on for like 30, 40 minutes. So we'll just kind of focus on his little program, and then we'll have him go. And then we could talk about all types of other things with racing, your career, and stuff like that. But so obviously Johnny started this program, and he knew you guys pretty well. I believe reached out to your dad, and like Manafort Brothers, I think, was involved. and kind of revitalizing the track. Could you guys elaborate on that a little bit?
Oh, I had nothing to do with the track, Dave.
No?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of really cool things going on up there at Silver City. So we all went together and tried to repave the track, try to revamp it, bring it back to back to what it was when we were kids up there racing, all three of us. And because like I just look at that racetrack and it's amazing how many racers have come out of that racetrack, right? Santos, you guys, myself, Preece, right? I mean, the list keeps going, right? And that there's just so many, Doug Coby. There's what other quarter midget track has that many people that are still in racing today?
Yeah.
And it's not even if they're not driving, they're still in the sport. Penske just hired. Remember Tina Theriault?
Yeah.
They just hired her to run the PR department at Penske, right? Like, so she's still in the sport. There's so many. Alan Gavana, the Savalis, right? Like, I mean, these guys are still in the sport, and it's cool to see, like, as a kid, right? And you're just going to go racing with your family and have some fun, and that's what it is, right? When you're 5 or 6, 7 years old, it's not a job. It's I know some parents try to make it think that they're going cup racing next year. Don't make it like that. That's not what it is. It's supposed to be for fun and with your kids. But it's cool that exposure to a sport, they find a love for it and they kind of follow that path if they like it all the way through. And with my kid, I kind of feel the same way. Like I want him to try it. I also want him to try other things because I want him to make sure that like this is what you like want to do. Like find something else to make sure. But I also want to keep it fun. I'm not a big fan of how like you see kids show up to these racetracks these days and they're 6, 7 years old and they got printed T-shirts and these big haulers and I'm like, what are we doing? Like we go race like I'm showing up in the back of the pickup truck. Like that's what I went tonight. I took my pickup truck up there and I said, "What do I need? It's a go-kart." Like what do I really need?
We all thank the Gravels for that movement.
I know. You guys had the nicest stuff. I remember that.
We definitely had a big rig. I don't know why my dad wanted that, but when you run 3 cars every week, we needed the space. And my dad spent about every dollar he had. I know his credit card bills were outrageous when we raced.
He just always liked to be flashy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like to go back to Silver City a little bit on how and what Johnny's done with his program on just giving an easier entry point to kids to want to go racing. To my point I was talking about earlier, how I don't know what I need to go racing with my kid and I feel lost and how you couldn't imagine how others feel. Well, how about the expense that comes along with it, right? You can't go to your local sporting goods store and buy a race car. Just not there, right? And number 2, it costs a lot of money. You start thinking about the car, the parts, a trailer, or whatever you need to get it there, a truck, whatever it may be, right? Like you start adding it up for your little kid just to try it and see if they like it, right? Like when they're first starting, you just seeing if your kid likes it. That's what it is. And if they want to grow a passion for it. And it is a huge expense and a big ask to get a parent to spend tens of thousands of dollars to see if your kid likes it. It's wrong. It's a broken system we have right now as far as an entry point into our sport. And what Johnny's built really helps that to where it becomes affordable to go racing and see if your kid likes it. If your kid likes it, good. Okay, then make the investment if you can, or try to figure out a way, whatever it may be. But at least you don't have $10,000 worth of stuff, and then your kid goes, "I don't like it," and now you're stuck. Like, what do I do with all this stuff? Right? And you got to try to sell it, half the price or whatever it may be.
Yep.
This is a great way to fix that, and it starts in quarter midgets. It starts at Silver City. That's great. Where it can go in the future is, to me, is unknown. It can be huge, right? This model can work in Bandoleros. It can work with Legends cars. It can work with a lot of like local, first time racers, right? Just to get them in and grow. Johnny, how many new signups did you guys have in the last 2 years, through your system?
So, including the kids that are already signed up for this year, we'll have gotten over 100 kids into the sport.
Yeah, at one track. That's
Yeah.
at one track, guys. Like that's doing it. Like it's so awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think hopefully maybe he could lay this program out and it could be like regional, right? And hopefully each region could kind of maybe adopt this somehow. But it's going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Like Johnny's put more work into it than probably anybody ever will. So that's why it works, in my opinion. Like how many hours he has donated into working on them and making these cars that have been sitting around raceable again. So I think that's the hardest part. And how many kids are scared to get in the car, or if they go see it for the first time, just people just get so scared of them going around the track. Kids don't even want to get in.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, people ask me all the time too, like, would you get mad if somebody or you see so-and-so's trying to do what you're doing?
Yep.
No, I mean, if it helps kids and if it helps the sport, I'm all about it. Like, I'm happy to share my strategies and whatever. The thing is, though, like, you're going to have to work really hard. I mean, we've put a lot of cars together. I mean, I have a great team of guys that are just willing to volunteer because they believe in what we're doing. And it's just awesome to see the sport grow and know that you're a part of that. Like, you're making that happen, and like not enough people know about motorsports, period, and just what it does for kids. I mean, I'm successful now as a professional, but I mean, I could attribute that to my time in the sport. Like, I was not a confident kid growing up. I was not a confident competitor. Like, all my skills that made me a successful entrepreneur or a successful business person, I developed all of that at the quarter midget track. Like, I sat my ass on the bleachers at the Oak Lane Grands watching every single A main because I didn't make a single race. And I watched all these kids celebrate and win, become national champions. And just like, I decided then and there, like, I want to do that. Like, I could do that. They're just kids. They're kids just like me. Before that, I'd look at a lineup board and decide, okay, he could beat me, he could beat me, he could beat me, and I could probably beat her. Like, that's how I used to think until I didn't make an A main at the Oak Lane Grands. And, I watched all those kids become national champions. I decided then and there that it was going to be different for me. Like, as far as confidence goes, like, some people are born with it, but it can be attained. Like, to me, confidence is earned. You work your ass off. You earn the right to be confident in whatever it is you're doing. A business person, an athlete, a competitor, in anything. Like, you work your ass off. You deserve to be confident. Like, you've earned that right. For me, like, it wasn't natural. The sport taught me that, along with so many other things. And I just stand by the fact that, like, so many kids need racing. They do. They don't need the expense that goes along with it, but they need the values that this sport teaches you. Because in so many ways, this sport, it made me who I am. I'm sure the same goes for you guys. But, especially in today's world, like, the kids, they need something good. They need something that they care about to keep them grounded, something that they could love, something that, they're excited to get out of bed for, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback along those lines from some of these parents, especially since COVID, so, I mean, I stand by the fact that people need this sport, and we got to do better to give more kids the chance,
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. I agree. It's just racing is definitely important to us in this country, but man, so many kids, they don't know what gender they are nowadays. Like, there's so many screwed up things in these worlds that, like, if they had something with structure, I think I love football. I think football showed me so much structure in life. But like Joey, your dad was like a football coach to you. Johnny, your dad was like a football coach to you. Like Earl, my dad wasn't a football coach, but Earl was. Like, you got stuff beat into your head to do something right, and when if it was wrong, you aren't going to get treated like a little baby. Like, you got tough love, and I feel like there's probably not a lot of tough love anymore.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to give tough love. It's all considered abuse these days.
I know. Yeah, we are. Yeah, the people don't even know like what we gone through as kids. Like, yeah, it was for fun, but at the end of the day, it kind of wasn't for fun either. We were there to win, and if we didn't win, we were all pissed off. So
yeah, I mean, we cared about it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And our dads made us work hard. That's for sure. Joey's mom was really strict. I remember that. He wasn't allowed to have friends in the camper at certain times.
Yeah,
I know, and why I have no idea. But we all turned out all right at the end of the
day. M&M cookies, though. So
that was it. I had M&Ms and an orange soda. That was my pre-race meal.
Nice.
I was ready to go. You remember your parents would wake you up because we'd race at like 10 o'clock at night, and we'd all be sleeping. And they'd wake you up like, all right, it's time to go. And you're like, what?
We raced till midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Trophies at like 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nuts.
Yeah, that's cool. Johnny, is there anything else you want to talk about on this program or things you want? I know a couple people asked in the comment section for those QR codes again, so we'll probably splash those QR codes up.
Yeah, splash them.
What?
Yeah, splash them.
All right. Yeah, right here. There's the Venmo if you got Venmo to help out the program and what Johnny is doing. And then he's got a PayPal QR code. You guys could also watch this back if you do miss it. You can go back and pause it and get the QR code then. But yeah, Johnny, anything else and how to spread the word or like I feel like it's important if you get people involved all around the country to try to get this stuff going. Like, you know, Charlotte area, you said there's a lot of ways for kids to get racing, but there's not really that much of a quarter midget presence in North Carolina, is there?
There is. There's over at Bobby Labonte's place.
Oh, yeah.
In Salisbury. There's a track over there.
It's a really well-run track.
Yeah, they do a great job over there. And I have a few friends of mine that run quarter midgets out there for sure too. And they love it. And you know, there's so many like different options here, right? And it's kind of like which direction do you want to go? And where, like I said, up north, there's just not really an option, right? Like it's if your kid wants to race, there's quarter midgets or there's quarter midgets, right? Like that is it. There's a lot more competition in kids racing down here, different types of things. And, you know, I chose the Outlaw cards honestly because they race on Wednesday nights. And that to me is key because I'm gone every weekend. So that's why I went that direction. I would have done quarter midgets if we raced on, you know, if I didn't race on every weekend, you know, I would be able to do that. So that's the reason.
Anytime you're home, though, Hudson could run a quarter midget at Silver City.
Absolutely. We did it once.
He's old enough now.
He has to race a quarter midget at least once.
Oh, absolutely. So we went there, what was it for the Grands it was last year, right? Was it last year?
Yeah.
Loud. And so my dad kept my first quarter midget when I was.
That was the fast track, right?
Fast track, you got it. And so it's sitting for the last 20 years or 20 something years. And so we put an engine in it, got it back running again, and we brought it up to Silver City and put Hudson in it. And that was like the coolest moment to see that car going back around with your kid in it. Like, it was just
he was three.
Yeah.
He was 3, killed it.
He was 3 then, so it was a couple years ago then, I guess, right?
Yeah. So that when he did that, that was the first year of DDP. So that was like 20.
That was before the Grands. You're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave, if Joey's son ends up doing a couple quarter midget races, what kind of car should he run, you think?
Yeah, definitely a bull rider.
I'm coming back with the old 1992 fast track. We're
Get him
coming
some
right
new
back at it.
shocks. He's gonna need some new shocks.
We may need some new shocks on the back of it.
Retire those clicker shocks.
I
Yeah.
got new tires on it though. I got some stickies on them. They're good to go.
I remember Chad Gaudiosi. He was a good kid at Silver City. He had a fast track, and
Not me.
he'd always win like light 160. He was really, really good with that car.
Chad's brother Dan's back at Silver City, and his two sons are really good.
Yeah.
His son Dan Jr. is actually running for the driver development program this year, so he's a hot shoe. He's a good junior.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, Johnny, anything else?
Yeah, so I mean, like you were saying, it would be awesome to get more people involved beyond Connecticut. You know, we want to give this program legs to do more. You know, we want to be able to support these kids beyond quarter midget racing. You know, we gave them an easy access point, and they're really good. All these kids are proving to be talented enough to, you know, keep progressing within the industry. They're just, you know, they got support to get into the sport. We want to be able to give them the support to go beyond. So we're committed. I mean, I got a group of guys that are really loyal and they work really hard for me. You know, we're committed to continue doing what we're doing and whatever's next, but it's going to take a whole lot of support. You know, we're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and get work done, but we need more people to know about the program and know about the work that we've done, and want to support it beyond quarter midget racing. So that's really it.
Well, I appreciate it, Johnny. I think you're doing some great stuff. You know, I know Joey's helped out. I've helped out a little bit. Maybe you'll see my logo on your program cars this year or not.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Bring
But
me a little bit.
yeah, you have to annoy me a little bit, and I'll do it.
No, I will.
All right, guys. Well, thank you, Johnny. We'll let him go, and then we'll you know, talk to Joey just one-on-one, and yeah, Johnny, we'll keep in touch. All right, Joey. So yeah, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Erin somehow got sick. Her kid had the stomach bug, and she got sick today.
I get it. This weekend, it happened. All 5 of us.
Really?
Sick.
Really?
Miserable.
Yeah.
It was, oh, God, so nasty. I threw away a rug. I threw away like 3 sets of sheets.
Oh,
I was
wow.
out in my underwear at 2 in the morning hosing off blankets to pour them in the wash. I mean, it was
Jeez.
bad.
It must be a North Carolina thing. I was sick last week, like pretty sick, but none what you're talking about. That's serious.
It's going around. Oh yeah, the neighbor kids, all the neighbor kids got it now. Like, it's a disaster. Not good.
Wow.
Disgusting.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Real life.
Yeah. The fun of being a parent.
Yeah, that was it.
So, Joey, I guess maybe I have obviously more of a dirt background and fan interaction with more dirt guys, and obviously you're a asphalt NASCAR guy, but you obviously started at Silver City, but at a young age you did move down to Charlotte. Like, just give us the quick, like, step by step. I know you went to Bandoleros and some legends, but I feel like from that to when you went to Nationwide, it happened pretty fast. So can you just give us just a quick step where you came from and how it was all done?
Yeah, so I mean, we started the same way, right? Same track. I'm a few years older than you, so I started a little sooner than you did. And so I raced up in Connecticut for the first 4 years until I was 9 or so. And my parents wanted to move south. We actually moved to Atlanta for a little bit. I lived there for 6 years, and there I raced Bandoleros, Legends cars, I ran those Allison Legacy cars, ran some late models. Started running some ASA cars down there as well. And then got to the point where we started going to Charlotte a lot. Roush was looking to sign me. Gibbs ended up signing me when I was 15. And so we said, well, we got to be up there. You got to be there. So at the time I was running Pro Cup. Gibbs bought all our stuff. and I raced for JGR when I was 15, and they paid for everything. It was incredible. Um, and so I raced there for the next 7 years. Got to the point where there wasn't enough performance on the racetrack. That's the bottom line. We were 4 years into Cup racing. I was sitting there with 2 wins. Um, right, and just not good enough. Not not up to the expectations. I got a second chance at Team Penske, and by the grace of God, that all worked out because I was this close of saying, "Uh-oh, what am I going to do the rest of my life?" Got that second chance, and here we are, a couple championships later, and 30 plus wins, and I mean, it's just kind of crazy how close it was to being nothing, 10 years ago. So just that was my kind of it rose to the top really, really quick to a couple of them. Realized I wasn't ready. Got my butt kicked by a lot of really talented race car drivers, and had to go to work and figure out how to be better. And eventually, I figured it out and got a second chance.
Yeah, for sure. So that was my question is, I mean, being a rookie, filling the shoes of Tony Stewart at Joe Gibbs, like at a young age, you won. Are you still the youngest Xfinity or nationwide winner?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, like, obviously you're young and you had success and won a race, but obviously, when you run a full season or something, you can maybe run good 5 times, but it's hard to be consistently good no matter what form of racing you're in. You go to so many different tracks. So I feel like you got to Cup and you got to Joe Gibbs, and I'm sure you thought you were ready, and then you learned you weren't. But like, I guess it was a reality check, right? And I think that all journeys in life aren't going to be easy, because if they are, you don't appreciate them. So, like, how was that? Like, oh, I'm at the top, I'm at Cup, I'm on a pretty good team. I think Joe Gibbs probably wasn't as good as they have been the last 10 or 15 years back then, but still a really good team. Like, how was that experience of having that high and then having that low, and what you learned from it?
Well, it's funny. I mean, God gives you what you need sometimes, and I needed a bit of a reality check.
Yeah.
Um, my whole career, I relied on my talent, and it was enough. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. It was good enough to go out there and win races. I was the youngest everything growing up, winning everything. Like, all right, well, I must be pretty freaking good, right? And I started drinking my own Kool-Aid, right? Like I was believing every bit of it until I got to the level that everybody was good, and these people worked hard and they are experienced, and that was the reality check of like, uh-oh, like the guys I used to make fun of on Sundays because they were running 35th or laying black marks off the corner, right? They're just laying two rear tires, smoking them off the corner in front of me, driving away from me in less of a car than I was in. And I was like, oh, I suck. Right? Like that's kind of what it came down to. I was like, I'm not good. And it got to the point of where like you don't know what you don't know. You got to first figure out where you're off.
Yep.
And it was everywhere, right? So like it's like trying to figure out, okay, how do I make speed at wore out surface racetracks? How do I get better at mile and a half? How do I work on my short track stuff? How did my road course stuff get better? Like, and it was how do I work on how the race plays out and the strategy of it and what I'm going to need from practice to the race and all these things that I never thought of. Like I literally just got in the car and drove, and I could win. That was it. I never thought about all the details of what makes a great race car driver. And that's I needed that, right? Because that brought the cocky, arrogant young Joey Logano that knew everything back to reality, and that feeling I always remember, and it's what drives me today, right? That feeling of failure and being that close and getting beat and realizing that I'm not that good uh, is what I needed, right? And I remember today, to this day, I still don't think I'm that good. So I have to outwork everybody. Like that's what I feel like I have to do. I have to be out and be a smarter race car driver than my competitors. Somehow, one way or another, I have to find that as my strength because my talent, yeah, it's decent. I think I'm quick. I could do that stuff, but I feel like I'm the smartest driver out there, and that's because I put the work in to do that, and I wasn't at first. And because I figured that like I said, it was good enough when I was young. It's just not anymore.
So would you say to prepare to be better, is it strategy with your team? Is it film watching? Is it being in better shape? I mean, what do you think are the best things that helped you out? Obviously, seat time and experience, getting beat, and then learning how to win after getting beat and retaining that information. But what do you think has been the biggest help, or maybe you just took it more serious, that this is your job, right? This is your livelihood. So, you got to really focus on it.
Yeah, it's every detail, right? I mean, there's not one thing that I think is bigger than the other, right? Fitness is important. Do I think it's the number one thing? No, absolutely not. I think
Yep.
your mental psyche is the number one thing, right? You
Yep.
got to first believe in yourself before anyone else ever believes in you. But you also can't BS yourself, right? Like you can't like just fake it till you make it, right? Like
Yeah.
when you're lying to yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
You have
Yep.
to truly believe that. And how do you get that confidence in that? Well, you have to do the work. You have to do the work to be able to feel ready and prepared and confident. And so that means, yeah, there's film studies, there's a lot of SMT data we go over. There's a lot of meetings pre-race as we go through it, the strategy. Like I am in tune with everything that's going on that whole weekend of what's in the car, what changes we're making, where we're at, what the next steps, all those things I've learned I need to know this stuff to be successful. There is other drivers that can just jump in and go. Like, and it used to be frustrating to me to see that, right? Because
Yeah.
you're like, man, I'm grinding it out, and this kid just gets in and he's fast. And it's like, ugh. Yeah, but that's okay. It's okay. Like this
Yeah.
is what works for me.
Yeah, some people have to work a little bit harder than others. There are just some people that have unbelievable car speed, and then there's other people that need to be really involved. And at the cup level, obviously, you're not really hands on the car, obviously, but really involved in the setup and the particulars. And
Right.
um, you know, just a lot of people are different.
Oh, and everyone prepares for what works for them.
Yeah,
Right? Like this works for me, right? I know about dirt guys, Kyle Larson. What works for him? He's in the car all the time,
yeah,
driving whatever, right?
whatever.
Like Kyle Larson isn't the guy that knows every detail about everything that's going on.
No,
But he's in the seat so much he's just good.
he
Right?
just
Like
adapts.
he's
He
just
just
freaking good. But
yeah,
he's driving every single day, for
yeah,
the most part. So it's a different way of doing it. It works for him, right? And
yeah.
it's finding your own way.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe that's why you got like the bad boy rap in NASCAR. I feel like for whatever reason, the tall, skinny guys are always the villains. Brad Keselowski, you like. I feel like any Kyle Busch, like anybody that's like tall and skinny build, everybody is like, yeah, they're the villains. You know what I mean? It's funny how that all worked out.
Well, I don't know if I'm the villain. Um, it, I'm aggressive and
Yep.
I don't take any crap, right? So like, if you're gonna do it to me, I'm doing it back to you, and it's
Yep.
gonna be like that. Boom, done, right? Like
Yep.
that's who I am.
Yep.
And if I do it to you, yeah, I expect to get pushed back, and I go, oh yeah, well, I had it coming,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
that's fine with me,
Yep.
right? And we can do that with our cars, right? You can't do that with a sprint car, right? Like,
Yeah. 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 You'll
that's
get hurt.
you're gonna kill someone, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't have that. But in our cars, it's someone slides you, pushes you, okay, like it's
Yep.
coming right back immediately.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that gave me a little bit of a bad look. I think also um, the way I handle situations when I was young, to the point of doing things wrong and being very arrogant and thought I knew everything. I
Yep.
handled a lot of situations early in my career wrong, and so a lot of people make judgment off of that. And
Yep.
once people make their mind up, there's no changing it apparently.
Oh yeah.
So that's part of growing up in front of everybody.
Yep.
Everyone's done stupid things when they're 18, I promise you. That's
Oh
not
yeah.
everybody remembered, unfortunately. And you know what? I'm aggressive. I am an aggressive driver. And if you look back 6 or 7 years ago, I was the most aggressive guy out there by a long shot. Now, mm-mm. I
Ross
think
Chastain.
I'm average at this
Yeah.
point. Not that I gotten soft. It's everybody is aggressive, and they just realize they have to be that way now. So it's the game has changed over time for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. I feel like Tyler Reddick and Ross Chastain, they're real aggressive. Kyle's pretty aggressive as well. But for some reason, that's what sprint car racing is like right now. I felt like growing up, there was more like older guys and they raced a different way. Now in sprint car racing, it's mostly younger people, and it's just like a hornet's nest now. Like it's flat out balls to the wall. Like you're getting slid every lap. Like it's just super, super intense now. And it seems to be, NASCAR's in a weird phase right now. Like as far as veterans, I guess, obviously Kevin Harvick's the veteran, but there's not like this laundry list of veteran guys anymore. The face of NASCAR has changed so much. And now it's all the ex NASCAR drivers' kids racing, or, now there's some dirt guys again. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just completely different nowadays.
Yeah, well, there was a group that came in all at the same time, right? It was Junior, it was Kenseth, Harvick, Jimmy Johnson,
Yep.
right? I mean, Ryan Newman, right? And you think, they all came in within 2 or 3 years of each other, and they all retired within 2 or 3 years of each other.
Yep.
And so it kind of goes in this big cycle. And in the meantime, there was every now and again there was a new driver that came in, Brad, myself, right? There's a couple here and there that would kind of like sprinkle in. My rookie class was me and Scott Speed.
Yep.
That was the only two rookies. The next year was Kevin Conway. He was by himself, right? Like there was a period of years where there was only one rookie, two rookies, three rookies. That was it.
Yep.
Because these guys get in there and they're good and they stay and they keep getting better because of the experience. And then it's just no entry point for anyone to get in. So that cycle is happening or has happened at this point. The last one kind of being Kevin, and at that point the veterans are Brad, Denny, myself, right? Like it's Kyle Busch, right? Like that's kind of the four guys with the most experience at this point. Once Kevin leaves, so it's kind of had that big cycle to where there's a bunch of new up and coming young drivers that have all come in at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a chat section here live on YouTube, and then you have the option to pay for a question, and then yours is definitely getting answered because sometimes the chat, there'll be 100, 200 questions to answer. So This guy Dutch asked, question for both of you, don't say racing. If you weren't doing this, what profession would you pursue? I'll let you answer first.
So, I mean, at this point, it's unfair for me to answer this question because I feel like I have a lot of experience in business and being able to see the other side of marketing and how our sports run and things like that, to where I would do something else. But if I'm being honest, I've never thought of another thing, and I'm glad I didn't. But I also heard this from Mario Andretti, and I've gotten to know him recently pretty well. And one of the things he says is to not have a backup plan. Don't have a plan B, because when you don't have a plan B, plan A has to work. You put the pressure on plan A and it has to work. And you never know what you can do until you have to do it, right? You never know how fast you can run until you're running from a bear.
Yep.
That's what it was. And that's Mario's attitude. And I love that. And I live my life the same way. I don't know if that's the best advice for kids. I don't know. but it worked for me. It worked for him.
Yeah, it worked for him.
I do think when you put the pressure on like that, it's going to make you better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's a mindset type of thing, and you could will your way into winning races, or look at somebody like Ryan Vargas, who doesn't really have financial backing, but he's so good at social media. He gets enough sponsorship where he still gets to race part-time in the Xfinity Series, and I know how much that costs to do nowadays. So, I mean, you could be good at lots of things and make this racing deal work, being personable, not burning bridges, and there's a lot of different ways that it could be done. So Alexander said, Joey, what are your thoughts of having the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro and not Texas for the Cup Series? So let me answer this real quick. I've seen videos of Texas, what it used to be. Texas now, in my opinion, sucks, and it's a terrible racing track. So why they brought the All-Star race at one of the least racing tracks available, to me, I think this is going to put on a lot better event. I know it's probably already freaking sold out.
It is. It's sold out already, and it's a home run for our sport. It's a no-brainer. the racetrack up there, you got to see it. I went up there a couple years ago and did a drift video with Von Gittin. I have a drift truck, and we did some tandem stuff like around the racetrack, under the grandstands, and all. It's really cool. But they it's like a time capsule. Like they shut the gates, and that was it. And we
Yeah.
went in there, and like it's all overgrown. And like I went in the infield care center, and there's still stretchers in there from when they raced. Like this kind of
That's
eerie.
creepy.
It was creepy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's so cool to see that like we're gonna go back there on the same asphalt, right? They cut the weeds down, right, and go race. They made the grandstand safe for everybody. So it's really like a true throwback.
Yeah.
It's a home run. No matter what happens in the race, it's already a home run in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. I think Junior was pushing for that pretty big, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, Junior's big on this one. Yes,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
helps it be a home run as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be good marketing no matter what. Let's see. So obviously you won the championship this past year. When you guys started the season with this new car, did you guys envision you think you'd have the success you did? I feel like nobody was like extremely consistent throughout the year. I feel like it was a little bit of sporadic. But did you dream that you would win your second title with this new car?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, you got to have the confidence, right? Like we said, and it's hard to have the confidence in a new car when you didn't know the challenges that were coming your way next, and you had to relearn how to race. You had to relearn like dirty air is a lot different. What your car does in dirty air and what you need in the race, all these things. I felt like a rookie. I was like, I'm starting all over. Like all the stuff I knew is worthless now. I'm like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah.
So we started all over, and yeah, there's ups and downs throughout it, but every team had ups and downs. No one was successful for a long period of time, right? Maybe a month max. Where you
Yeah.
saw like a organization be really strong.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
knew
for
if
sure.
we just executed and did the details really well, and then we can get the speed to where we need it to be, we're going to be just fine. And that all kind of happened about 6 races at the end of the year, where we finally got to speed to where we can be competitive. We won at Vegas. That gave us a huge advantage, giving us a couple weeks advantage of working on our car just for Phoenix. And we had a plan. We executed a plan and won championship. So yeah, I felt like, at the beginning of the year, why wouldn't we have a chance? Everyone's got a chance at
Yeah.
that point. But as the year went along, there's times I felt like we weren't, but I also felt, upbeat about how quickly the tides can turn in the year that we had with the next gen car.
So do you think that this car is going to be good for the sport? Like now, obviously, the lower teams definitely have a better chance to win today than they did for the last 15, 20 years, unless it was at Daytona or Talladega. Um, I guess it has to make you prepare and be more sharp than ever because everybody has a more of a chance to win now. Where before there was 15 cars that showed up every week, they knew they were going to be a lap down fast, and there's no way really around that. So, um, and are they harder or easier to drive? Would you say that this is more of a driver's car, or is setup more important than ever?
It's well, I mean, the field's closer than it's ever been because we all have the same cars, right? Like you can start a team tomorrow and buy the same car Roger Penske has, right? Like
Yeah,
as crazy as that sounds, like you've never been able to do that before, right? So is it good for the sport? To answer that question, yes, it is. Because you see the new ownership, you see Trackhouse, you see these other teams that are other ownership, right? 2311, you see Brad getting into ownership as well, eh, because there's opportunity there, right? To where if you get the right people, you get the right driver, you get the right crew chiefs, you get the right engineers to be able to be successful. Well, it doesn't take long. You can, if you get the right combination, you can be competitive the first year. Right? Like you've
yeah,
never been able to do that before. So is it good for ownership in that side of the sport? 100%. From the competition side, is it better? Is it worse? I'd say it's up for debate. I don't know if it's really any different.
yeah,
Um, the field is closer. Um, I know as a racer in that means the details mean everything, right? Qualifying means a lot. Restarts mean a lot. Strategy means a lot. right? Those things you got to be perfect, because if you make a mistake, you can't recover now. Right
Yep.
now, you can be leading, come down pit road and speed or something like that, and go back to 20th and run 20th, because
Yeah.
because the guy in front of you is like, maybe you're a tenth faster than him, but a tenth is not enough to overcome dirty air and make a pass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got to be perfect for 500 miles now. Whereas before, you can afford to make a mistake because you may be 4 or 5 tenths quicker than that car,
Yeah.
and you can blow his doors off and be back there before you know it, right? Like,
Yeah.
now you can't. So you just, perfection is what you strive for.
Yeah, I'm sure it's making a lot of people more sharp. I'm sure like Hendrick Motorsports didn't want to see the new car come the year they had, the year Larson won the championship and, nearly dominated. But, before that, Gibbs had some dominating years and Penske had some dominating years as well. So it's definitely cool to see, to change it up. I like that you guys are shifting on the short tracks quite a bit with the sequentials. So I think that makes it fun, because there's probably a little bit of toying around with that, with starts and restarts, and then obviously making passes and stuff like that. So I think that's a cool thing. Obviously, the purists want to see a clutch and a H pattern, but it's 2023. That sounds futuristic. So I guess it's time that they had to evolve.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of keep up with the times, right? And that's what stock car racing was built on, right?
Yep.
What you see on the street. And what does today's sports cars have? They have independent rear suspension.
Yep.
They really, even a sequential shifter, that's old school at this point, right? To
Yep.
even have that, that's not in any car that you
Yep.
buy, right? So there is some things that we've tried to go closer to that. There's, and the car's never had a bigger change ever, right? I was talking to Richard Petty about it. I said, "Have you ever seen a bigger change in the sport?" He's been to every race that you can imagine. He says, "I've never seen a bigger change in cars than this." And so that goes to show that what we went through last year,
Yeah.
as a sport. So it worked out.
Yeah, I'm a fan of more modern looking wheels, because I know how much money and time is spent in a cup car. But when they had steel wheels, to me, it like cheapened how the car looked, in my opinion. Like, this is probably $1 million car on the racetrack. I feel like now you guys got a unilug wheel, and it looks like a wheel off a Corvette or something like that. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
looks like a way more modern piece. So I'm all for that. So we got a couple questions, Joey. Tyler says, would Joey race a dirt car of any sorts? So what year was that at Volusia? You ran the UMP modified.
I did. I ran a modified down there. When was that? When there was the first dirt race? Was it
Yeah, it's probably
20?
3 years ago or something.
No, we only ran it twice, so it was
Twice.
21. 21.
21.
Yes,
Yeah, I
I went
remember.
down there. My buddy Ryan Flores had a car, and I said, "Well, yeah, I need to figure out a race on dirt. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Like, I've never done it before." Uh,
Yep.
so I was like, well, I don't know what's close to a cup car, and he had it modified to, small tire, big motor. I'm like, oh, it sounds somewhat close. It's nothing like the cup car, just FYI, not even close. I hit the gas and the left rear tire's up under my ass. At that point,
Yeah.
what the heck's going on over here? And the way
Yeah.
you had to drive the car to keep it up and keep the car turning, I was like, all right. So, we go down to Volusia, which there's a million cars down there. Getting laps was not easy to do. And so I start my first race and I'm like, all right, like, I'm in there. Let's see what I can do here. And I didn't really think much of it. They hit the gas in front of you and they sprayed the hell out of me. I
Oh
couldn't see. Like, immediately could not see. I didn't think about ducking my head down behind a little windshield thing or like blocking it with my hand. I just took it in the face. And it went straight black for me in my shield. I'm like, oh, right. And so I'm trying to pull this tear off. I can't see where I'm going. I can't see anything, right? And I'm like, pull it, nothing there. I'm like, I don't even know how to pull a damn tear off, right? So I finally get the stupid thing off. I see where I'm at, and Buzzy Rudiman's in front of me, and I just, boom, wiped him out. I'm like, oh,
Picking on the old guys.
of all people to get. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is why people hate me. That's what I thought. Like, this is why.
Yeah, this is helping my image real good.
Didn't help. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so eventually I kind of got it figured out. I think I finished second or third in the race. I don't remember. Second or third in the race. I don't know. Once I kind of got everything going and I figured out, like, on restarts what to do, and like, you gotta like hit the gas and the brake a ton to get the thing all loaded up, unless you got no drive when you go. Like these little things that I didn't know. Right. So I had fun doing it. Did it help me when I got to Bristol? No, it
No,
didn't.
I don't think
It's
so.
fun. It's a blast to do it. But yeah, I didn't get the laps I wanted to get. That's one thing about dirt racing that I've realized here recently. You don't get to drive a lot. It's like
No.
the hot laps. Here he goes, 3 laps, and that was qualifying too. And I'm like, wait, that's it? And you got this 5 lap heat race, and then a 25 lap, 30 lap feature. I'm like, that's it. I'm used to
Yep.
100 miles. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're there all day to do that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, I didn't really learn as much as I wanted to learn here.
Yeah. I want to test for an hour.
Yeah, I want to try to figure it out. But yeah, I learned a lot about dirt and like what I needed at certain stages of the track and those type of things, and how to pull a tire off, which doesn't help you in a cup car because there's a windshield. But
Yeah. 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 That's for
I had
sure.
fun.
Yeah. I think it's fun. It's good for you to experience that because there's so many different things going on. You probably feel so lost. Like, yeah, you can make the car go around the track, but that line changes from hot laps to the feature is like not even close to the same racetrack. And I think that's why sometimes you see like Reddick will do good packing the wall, and maybe Larson will move around. But I think just being fearless on moving around, I think the guys that move around and find speed in other lanes always has an advantage sometimes. And if you grew up racing Stafford Speedway, you knew you had to hug that white line, or maybe just under the white line, where always as a dirt racer, you're always searching for when that next line's going to open up or go somewhere where people aren't. And hopefully that will pay off for you to win the race or move forward. And it's just interesting. I would say the dirt racers are more aggressive, and then there's some more methodical guys that win different ways. But I feel like the outlaw cart, if you grew up racing outlaw carts, you are for sure a kamikaze on the track. You're hauling ass, slide jobs. You know what I mean? Like say how Ross Chastain races, or Kyle Larson earlier in his career, right? Just like super, super aggressive. And if the good guys know when to tame that down when they get a little bit older, I think that's the biggest thing.
Right. I mean, they bring just massive speed. I think of Reddick and Larson, like they bring some speed.
Yep.
And the both of them, and Larson's figured it out now, but even Reddick is gotten really good at it now. Where you think of what Homestead used to look like for Larson, and it used to be the joke in the garage. If I'm being honest, it was oh yeah, yep, he's 3/10 faster than all of us. Yep, but wait, he's gonna hit the wall eventually. He's gonna cut a tire down, and then he's not gonna win the race because you got to
Yep.
do it for 400 miles right there.
Yeah.
It's not a 30 lap feature or a 50
No.
lap feature. Like you got to do it for 400 miles, bud.
Yeah.
And he'd be so freaking good at it, and then he'd hit the wall, and it was over.
Yep.
Now, like he's gotten really good at it. Plus, the next gen car, you can hit the wall and get away with it. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't put your tire down anymore. So there's for those guys now that are really good at it. I mean, that's why you saw he finally won in Miami. Right? Like he's
Yep.
gotten good at it, and now he has a little bit more cushion to where he can hit the wall, and it's okay. And it's really fallen right into his wheelhouse, right? Of what makes him so great.
Yep.
And that's his strength. Like his biggest strength is being able to ride the wall. And it's incredible actually how he does it. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Some people are just really confident of being, for us, it'd probably be out of control. But for them, they're still somewhat in control. They could just push it to that next level of being on the edge, I feel.
yeah. God bless him.
But I don't like to crash, so like that's not like kind of my forte. I kind of try to figure something different out, try to be there at the end, and that's always been my mentality. I probably have not won as many races because of that, but I feel like the races that I have won is because of that mentality. I feel like everybody has their own style, and I don't think you have to fake who you are. Like however your racing craft is, that's what you got to go with.
Right. Right.
So Racing Joe says, Logano, when you getting in the 410? Would love to see you and Kyle Busch ripping it against Kyle and Gravel, which probably Kyle Larson. Do you got the courage to hop in a 410 wing sprint car?
Will it fit?
Of course you'd fit. Dale Blaney's 6'6".
Yeah, okay. Well, guess
Yeah,
what?
you'll fit. They'll probably have to lower the butt bar like Dale Blaney's car made. How tall are you? Like 6'2"?
Yeah, 6'3". Yeah.
6'3"? Yeah, so you're tall. So it is definitely possible. Like you'll probably won't fit in a midget. I can tell you that. But you
Right.
can fit in a sprint car.
I sat in one of the midgets up here at Millbridge, and someone had a car. Let me sit in. My feet are all over to the side,
Oh,
and it's sitting. My head's like almost at the roll cage. I'm like, nah, no. Like this is like I've seen these things flip too many times.
yeah,
Not worth it. I
yeah.
not gonna do it.
No, no,
A sprint.
not
I
at
would
all.
like to try a sprint car. Like I'd go to a test and practice and try one. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like you guys are booking out there. I don't know. Like I would have to practice a lot before I felt confident enough to go out there and race with you guys. Like
Yeah,
I mean, it's and to the point I was talking about earlier, you get to the racetrack and you run 3 laps of practice and you go race. Like
yep.
if you're new, how do you even like good
That's
luck?
what I mean. Like getting into the sport, like we were talking earlier, it's so hard, right? For say a guy that's green or his family's working on the car and a 305 or a 360 sprint car, and all you get is 3 laps of hot laps. A lot of racing is only pill draw. They don't qualify. They run a heat race. They don't make the A main out of the B main, and they run like 30 laps all night. Like we race 90 times a year, so that's why we could adapt and go to all these tracks and not need all that time. But it's pretty wild how different like road racing. I mean, they do the most testing out of anybody. Like
Oh
if
yeah.
it's Trans Am or prototype or whatever, I mean, those guys live to test. And
Yeah.
then NASCAR tested a lot before COVID, and I think what they made restrictions on how much you could test. And then now there really isn't much testing at all unless it's like a tire test, right?
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. I'm going to Phoenix here next week for trying to dig out some different things they want to try with their cars for different rules. Right? Different aero stuff, working on some exhaust stuff. It's like, okay, like that's
Yep.
one of our tests. There's a
Yep.
tire test in Coda, and then we'll have another test, a tire test later this year. But
Yeah.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's tough. All right. Joey says, thanks, DG, for another live stream. Joey, thoughts on Talladega? Seems each race, more drivers express concern about speed, safety, etc. So I'm going to put my 2 cents in real quick. Um, it seems like you're always there at the end. And then it seems like you crash on the last lap about 80% of the time.
Yep.
And I don't understand how car owners support or want to race at super speedways. Like it's just crazy to me how much torn up shit there is every single super speedway race. So I guess yeah, give us the real feedback because you're living in it.
Nobody wants to. Nobody likes it. I'm being 100% honest. There's
Yeah.
not a competitor on the racetrack. I don't believe, unless it's somebody that can't win at any other racetrack.
Yeah.
Super speedways is kind of the great equalizer. And I used to really enjoy it, and I love the craft that you had to learn to be good at it, right? Like the chess match that it was, right? Like you had to know your competitors so well. You had to think every move out. You had to know your runs and time them out right, and like it was a blast to do it until, gosh, what was it? Year I think it was 2019, 18, maybe before that even. Gibbs went out there for the 500, and they had their 4 cars lined up and so committed to each other. They kicked everybody's ass that day. Just smoked everybody by being great teammates. That was the beginning of the end of speedway racing, in my opinion. Because once that happened, well, how do we beat the Gibbs cars? Well, we got to work together now. Well, now what do I do? Well, all the stuff that I know and learned and tried and all the stuff that made me good at super speedways, well, I can't do it now. I gotta stay committed to my teammate. I gotta be right with him. Like where he
Yeah.
goes is where I go. Well, it's brainless now. Like that's okay. Like I just follow this guy. I mean, like
Yeah. Yeah. They're
that's
telling me what to do and ride for half the race.
I don't like that. I
Yeah.
don't like that. That I can't like my hands are tied to where I can't go make a move without getting crucified. Right? Like
Yeah.
if I'm being honest, like that's true.
Yeah.
And it's like that with everyone now. And these cars, they put the big spoilers on them with the bigger horsepower, so you have more drag, more power. It pops the bubble. It's really easy to get the back bumper of another car. The cars have round bumpers, so they go all over the place and they cause crashes. And so it's easy to get the guy in front of you. When everyone starts getting aggressive and they start shoving each other more, they wreck. And the pack's close because the cars got big drag on them and big power. So the pack's close too. So now the pack's close, everyone's pushing. So then when they wreck everybody. And so it's like I don't like strapping into a car knowing I have more than a 50% chance of not finishing this race. That
Yep.
sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
okay, and then that's the biggest race of the year, the Daytona 500, right? Like, and
Yeah.
you're like, I just hope I see the checkered flag,
Yeah. Yeah. Because they got to hurt, right? Don't the crashes hurt? I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
like you're hauling ass.
yeah, they freaking hurt. So it's like you're taking massive risk, and if you're asking me, it doesn't take much anymore from the driver to win at a super speedway.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I don't like it. I don't hate them.
Yeah.
And so it used to be different, and it used to be like you used to see the same guys win on super speedways a lot,
Yep.
whereas now it's very random because it took a lot of the smarts out of it.
Yep. Brandon Brown, right? That guy. He got famous off winning that race.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if you know this guy, but he calls himself the Chaz. All right. He's a little personality in dirt racing. He said, "Sorry, I was mean to you at Volusia. Hashtag water bottle." So I'm guessing he is probably spewing some BS to you that, there's these good modified racers, but he's throwing his little 2 cents at you or jab at you. Do you remember this guy at all?
No, but I appreciate the apology.
Yeah.
Listen, I got a lot of people that say not so nice things to me sometimes, so
Hey, it's part of racing.
I let it roll off sometimes and then go
Yeah.
from there. But I appreciate the apology, Chaz.
All right. Yeah, he's turned into a nicer guy.
All
Before
right,
he was a
Chaz.
shit stirrer. Now he's turned into a nicer guy.
Okay, I like him.
So, were you always a Ford guy? I know is your drift truck a Ford as well?
It is. It
Okay.
is. I'm a Ford guy now,
Yeah.
and has been for a long time.
Yeah. I know,
So
seen your Mustang, you drifted that, and if it's at your shop or at Penske, you're doing donuts and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I got so at my studio down here in Huntersville, I mean it's kind of like a given, right? If it's your parking lot, pretty much when you go to work in the morning, like I'll do a donut, like
Yeah, hell
I don't know
yeah.
what it is. Like I don't know, I'll just slide it in here. It seems like I should,
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
why wouldn't you?
Yep.
So yes, it becomes a bit of a playground, and yeah, I like having fun. I like driving different things and different kinds of cars at days, and the fast ones are good. But my favorite car I have a 1921 Model T,
Oh wow.
and I love that car. Love
You
it.
drive it on the street?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
drive
cool.
it a lot, and my kids love it. We go get ice cream and stuff in it, but I just drive it to drive it. Sometimes I go to work in it, and it's just I don't know. I like seeing how far the vehicle has come in 100 years,
Yeah.
and thinking about okay, if the car has come this far in 100 years, what's the next 100 look like? Right? Like where are we gonna be?
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. So it's a it's a good reminder to always keep pressing forward because I'm sure in the 1920s that was amazing technology, and everyone thought, how much better can it get?
Yeah.
When I drive it now, it's a piece of crap in
Yeah.
comparison to what we have today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
you gotta hand crank the thing, right? Like it's
Yeah.
you think about that, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So, you got any big motors in that drift truck or that Fox body you got? You got any X Cup motors in that thing or anything
The
cool?
drift truck's got a cut motor in it.
It does.
So
Uh,
that was fun.
yeah, I'm sure you
It's
could drive that 9,000 RPM probably, no problem.
you can see out the old motor that you can run out there, which is cool.
Yeah,
That was fun, and yeah, they all got a little extra. The Fox body's got a supercharger on it where it runs pretty well, and the Mach 1's got a GT 500 drivetrain in it with the supercharger, so that one rips good too.
What
So,
year Mach 1 do you have?
the Mach 1's a 71.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
71 Mach 1, and so that's a fun little ride.
Heck yeah, awesome. Yeah,
So
I'm a big car guy too. That's what I spend a lot of my money on when I'm not racing. Those are my toys, and I need a bigger garage. That's my next purchase. That's for sure.
it's key. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotta have the toy box.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Pennsylvania is an extremely strong state for sprint car racing or dirt racing in general. Bobby Joe here asks, "Do you guys like to race in Pennsylvania?" So, a little backstory for me. I kind of started in PA racing dirt cars, and then I won the biggest race in Pennsylvania at the time called the Williams Grove National Open, and I was only like 19 or 20, something like that, 19 years old. Well, I spun a guy out that was leading to win the race. So Pennsylvania hated me for a long time and would boo me, and definitely was the most hated in Pennsylvania. But they're like the most passionate fans in our sport. And now some people maybe still hate me, but I do have a lot of fans in Pennsylvania. So I don't know for you, is Pocono is a different kind of part of Pennsylvania, but would you say the Pennsylvania fans are pretty diehards as well in NASCAR?
I would say so. Um, yeah, I mean, at Pocono, the campers are man, they are wide open camping. At
Yep.
Pocono, it's pretty great. And I I I see the same thing as you. Like it depends on where I go, on the fans that I have, right? And um, being a racer from Connecticut, Talladega usually is not my crowd. But when I go to Loudon, those
You're
are
a
my
Yankee. Yeah.
that's my people right there. I feel like I'm Dale Jr. when I go to Loudon. It's great.
Yep. Yep.
Out west has been really good for me for whatever reason. A lot of really good fans out there that are a lot of 22 fans, which is great. It just kind of depends on like where you're at and where you go. And yes, if you do something at that racetrack before, like not good, it's there for life.
Yeah.
They remember. They're like,
Oh,
oh
they don't. Yeah, they do not forget.
no,
Yeah,
no.
that's funny. So, Joey asks, "What is your most prized of memorabilia you have from your career?"
Um, I don't know. I guess I kind of go back to the beginning, and I know we were talking about the quarter midget stuff earlier in the show. But I'd say my first quarter midget is probably my most prized possession, right? Because that's like where it all started. That was it. Um, and the cool thing about that this year, that was our throwback scheme. Was my
Yep.
first quarter midget at Darlington, and we won the race with it. And so just
Oh,
a
wow.
cool like full circle moment for me to go back to where it started. That car, still having that car, my son driving it,
Yeah.
a few years ago, and then seeing that scheme on the track, putting it on the pin, and winning the race at Darlington. Uh, that was cool, right? Like that's a tough moment at the top. That was a really cool victory this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, probably the Daytona 500, the first Cup championship, that's got to be really good as well. But there's a lot of sentimental value to the first of everything or early on in your career. And back when you're just a kid and didn't have to worry about paying bills or putting food on the table, and you could just be a kid.
Right, right.
So we got a couple more questions here. Joey says, "How often do you watch dirt track racing?" So I don't know if this is a right or wrong statement, but I feel like nowadays more NASCAR guys, if they're crew chiefs, drivers, crew members, watch dirt racing more today than they did maybe 10 years ago. And then also, I feel like there's more ex dirt mechanics that work for NASCAR teams nowadays. I feel like
Mhm.
no matter what team you look at, I'll go to a NASCAR race and I'll see somebody that I noticed that was on the World of Outlaw Tour.
Right.
So you can answer the question that he asked, and then you could, I guess, follow up with what I just said.
Yeah, I think it's important that we cross pollinate, right? Like, I think it's important that we watch each other's sport and like like a motorsports fan doesn't have to choose a side, right?
Yep.
Like, if you're a NASCAR fan, doesn't mean you can't watch dirt racing, right? Like, if you're a dirt guy, like, doesn't mean you gotta hate NASCAR. Like, maybe you could have a preference, right? Like,
Yep.
but I think like motorsports fans have their like it's NHRA, if it's road course racing, whatever. Like, you still have something in common, right? There's different cultures, there's different like I get it, it's different, but it's
Yep.
not baseball, right?
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
football. It's
Yep.
still a
Yep.
car racing another car, right?
Yep.
There's different forms of it. You may have a preference.
Yep.
Um, but what I see our fans do sometimes is they get so passionate about what they love, they hate everything else, right?
Yeah.
Like I love racing. I love watching motocross. I love watching dirt cars. I love like I don't care. I love like watching how other people race and like their different culture of what's okay and what's not okay. Right? Like,
Yep. Yep.
and it's interesting to me. And so I love watching it. I love the feeling of when you're at the racetrack or watching on TV. Like it's what I do, right? Like I was a race fan before I was a driver, right?
Yep.
And probably everybody in the sport will say the same thing.
Yep.
So, yeah, I watch. I like it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I grew up going to the NASCAR races at a young age, and I think that's kind of what the Northeastern people did. If you were into racing, you went to NASCAR races. You'd go to Dover or Loudon or maybe to Pocono, but you definitely went to those tracks as a kid, and those were the glory years. Those '90s, man. That was the best time in NASCAR. It looked like.
Absolutely.
All right, Joey says a good question. His name is Joey. Is asking
Joe's,
Joey.
Joe's here.
Since you drive for Mr. IMS, IndyCar in your future, pulling the double question mark.
Probably not. Probably not. If I'm being honest.
Are you sketched out at Indy?
Let's just say sketched out. I just don't feel like I would do a good job at anything.
Yeah.
To my point I was saying earlier, I need to work really hard to be good. And if I divide my time from Kyle Larson could probably get away with this, right?
Yep.
I don't think I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm committed to winning NASCAR races and winning NASCAR championships. That's my
Yep.
commitment. I made that commitment to my team, and I don't want to vary from that. And if I start trying to focus on running the Indy 500, I am taking focus away from being a Cup winner and putting it towards IndyCar. And I'm just gonna do a half-ass job at both of them. Right?
Yeah.
That's what would happen, and I wouldn't win at either one. If I
Yep.
can't win, what's the point of doing it? Right? That
Yep.
was kind of me. Like I don't know. To say you started Indy 500, who cares? I
Yep.
care if you win the Indy 500. I
Yeah.
don't care if I started it. Like
Yeah. Yep.
whatever. A lot of people started Indy 500. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You
Just
know,
like you want to have a start at the Chili Bowl. I mean, anybody could go
big
to
deal.
the Chili Bowl. Yeah.
Big deal. It's about winning, right?
Yep.
It's not about starting. It's not a participation award for that, right? Like starting a
Yep.
race. Started Daytona 500. Who the hell cares?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it. Did you win
Yeah.
it? Like that's what,
Everybody's got different mindsets, right? Some people want to be the participation, and then others just have that drive for competitiveness and just want to win and everything. And
right.
I think those people succeed in racing, obviously.
Yep.
But all right, so another thing I want to talk about, I see your foundation you have. Where did that stem from? And exactly who are you helping out with that foundation? I read up on it a little bit, and it seems like you're giving back to not, I guess, families in need. Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of foster care families is where our mission is towards. A lot of kids that get put in just a bad spot, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not their fault that their parents may have made some bad decisions or something may have happened to them out of their control, and then they kind of get put into the system. And there's a lot of great organizations out there that help support the families, the foster families that pick these kids up and try to raise them. And you got to think they're these kids have been through a lot of things that you and I can't understand and won't understand. Um, and as they go from one family to another to house to another, right, and feeling unwanted, right? No kid should ever feel that way, and that scars them, right? It affects their personality, affects who they become, and it's very very hard for the foster parents to peel back those layers of the onion to get to the nucleus of what's going on and try to help turn these kids around.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great organizations that help with that stuff. We work with a lot of them. There's a lot of great supporters of JLF, and that's the why, right? Like you got to have a why. Why do you do this? Is it for trophies that we can talk about them here, and it's cool for a little bit, and in 10 years from now, no one's gonna know who the heck I am anyway, right? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we won the championship this year if you don't do anything with it, right?
Yep.
If you don't use that trophy as a platform to change somebody's life, that
Yep.
lasts generations. That's generational. Um, Race wins are not generational. They're short-lived. They're forgotten about. It might be a stat in the record book someday, and someone's reading it and they go, "I don't know who's David Gravel, who's Joey Logano." Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like, think about it. Think about 50 years ago. All it has to be 50 years ago.
Yep.
You barely know any of the NASCAR racers that were out there. In
Yep.
just 50 years, right?
Yep.
Gone, erased. Like that's kind
Yep.
of what it is. So you got to do
Yep.
something that means more, and doing things like that means more, and that's fine for anybody to do, right? Like that's the way we do it. But I also think it's the small things that matter. Um, I always say, to myself, attitudes are contagious. Be the light, like be the person that brightens the room. Be the person, you think about it when you get your coffee in the morning, the drive-through. If that person giving you the coffee is in a grumpy mood, kind of puts you in a crappy mood too.
Yeah. You're like, screw
You're
you,
not
man.
sitting there cheering
Yeah.
you on. Yeah, today's gonna be a good day. Yeah, you're right. Like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like, boy, that attitude's contagious, man. And
Oh
so
yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you ever heard of the Milton Hershey School in Pennsylvania?
No. Mm-mm.
So I'll have to maybe send you a little details on it, but this is the second year World of Outlaws is involved with this school. But Milton Hershey is the guy that created the Hershey chocolate bar. It's in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and they board all these kids. I forget if it's third grade, first grade, third grade, or fifth grade, all the way up to the end of high school. And they take all these kids in, and it's all free for them. It's for underprivileged families or foster kids, I believe. And they have a huge, it's like a technical school. So they have like a shop class. And like we went there one day and spoke, and like they got lifts in there and they're working on cars and learn how to inspect cars and actually getting their hands dirty on stuff. And it's a pretty cool deal. I believe I forget how many millions of dollars Milton Hershey. Uh, it's like written in his will, but they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars of funding from Hershey Chocolate Bar. I
Cool.
think it sounds crazy, like 20 or 30% of the revenue goes back to that school.
Well,
So it's like a college campus on maybe even steroids. It was just an awesome thing to see. And he started this back in like the 40s or 50s, and they're continuing the tradition from here. So it sounds like
well,
what you do aligns a lot what this school does. So
mm,
maybe you could have your people check it
little
out.
homework.
Um,
There you go. We'll take
and
it.
yeah, maybe it'd be something really cool to do, or have an event or something like that. But I was blown away when I was there. It was just a sight to see, and somebody like Milton Hershey, he's several billionaire, right? His
Right.
net worth is something crazy, and he wanted to give underprivileged kids a good education and a good start at life. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Super, super cool, man. Super cool.
All right, we got two more questions, and we'll let you go, so your wife doesn't yell at you and your kid doesn't hate
It's,
you
it's
either.
the uh, it's the 4:30 a.m. wake up call that I'm gonna get. It's gonna be rough.
Dang, that sucks. All right, we'll make it snappy. Joey, David, how do you think iRacing has helped young drivers develop recently? Want to race with some current Silver City drivers? Question mark.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I don't have an iRacing setup at my house. I
I'd
do
be
feel,
divorced.
what's that?
I'd be divorced if I was on a sim rig all the time.
I'd be frustrated because I
Yeah,
suck at it. I'm so
yeah.
bad.
I'm not that
It
good
doesn't
either.
I key off a feel way more than a vision, and so I end up being just horrible at it. And so I have fun like when I do get on there, but I also get pissed off eventually and just don't want to do it. I'm not a big sim guy. If I'm being honest, I don't use the sim much. Even our Ford sim, I don't even use it. Um, doesn't help me. I feel like it hurts me actually.
Yep.
So there's some parts of it that helps. Some things we can do is very limited. To me, the tool is very limited. But for some people, it's huge, right? For some people, it helps a ton.
Yeah.
And especially the younger drivers coming up, it's good for them. And I think it does teach you a little bit of how to race. Going to a racetrack the first time, I think that helps a
Yeah.
lot. You can actually see it. But
The visual things.
yeah, for me now, man, I'm 15 years into it. I know the track I'm going to. I know more than I can figure out on a video game at this point.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's to me, it's not big, but I can see to others it is.
Yep. Yep. That's cool. All right. So this it's K through 12. K5 through 12 is what that Milton Hershey school does.
Okay.
Um, all right, Ronald Coleman. This is a good one because I don't really know the backstory, but Mark Martin called you the best thing since sliced bread. How much did that endorsement help your career?
Hmm. It is probably everything.
Really?
I
That's
may not be sitting here talking to you today if it wasn't for that. Mark, during a rain delay in Dover, got in the media center because he was retiring the first time then, and said, "If you could have anyone replace you in your car, who would it be?" Mark's answer to that question was Joey Logano. At the time, I'm 15 years old. It's 2005. I'm racing
oh
pro
wow.
cars. Um, and so everyone's like, well, who's this Joey Logano kid? Uh, I won that weekend, which was like the perfect storm, right? He
Yeah.
ran delay. He said my name. I won the race. I was like, wow, this is this is great. And next thing you know, like there was teams calling me to drive for them, right? As a 15-year-old, to get this, this doesn't happen anymore these days. Like this is what's just absolutely incredible. I had three teams. I had Ganassi, Gibbs, and Roush all lay contracts in front of me to race for them,
Wow.
to get paid to drive at 15 years old. Like
Yeah. What the
that
hell did
doesn't
you do?
happen
Yeah.
anymore. Like the driver development program and like that type of stuff, like unheard of in today's world. Um, right. And so because of Mark, those deals came to the table and progressed my career, accelerated even quicker than it was already going because of that. So the timing was everything. When Mark said that and then backed it up with a victory all within the same weekend, that was it. Like that was the money.
Yeah, when something's meant to be, it's meant to be. If you're meant to be a race car driver for a living, those things do happen to you to give you that shot. But then you also have to excel when you get that chance, and what makes it all deserving and makes you feel good too. Well,
Absolutely.
well,
Absolutely.
Joey, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I wish we had Erin on here because she's a part-time host on a show anyway, so she would have been good to fill up some time. But thank you very much, man. Good luck this year. If you have a day off and you're in Florida and you want to come to Volusia, come hang
I'll
out. I could maybe help
probably
you
do
sneak
that.
scrape some mud or something. But if you want to come hang out, just come over one night. We raced 5 days in a row, so you let me know and we can make it happen.
There you go. I'll probably do that for sure. We'll have some dead time and I'll take my little man out there and watch some sprint car racing. He'll be all about it. So
Yeah,
thanks
we'll
for
come.
having me on. Very cool you do this and fun kind of going through the old times together. Kind of cool. Who'd have thought, right? Look at us now.
Yeah.
From racing in Connecticut to doing this what we're doing now. Pretty cool. So thanks for
Yeah.
having me on, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Joey. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, that is Joey Logano. I appreciate him coming on. Obviously, a pretty high name in NASCAR, a two-time champion, guy that came from the same racetrack as I did. I thought it was really cool that he came on. Really wish Erin Evernham was able to come on tonight, but she's sick. And I guess, and if you're in North Carolina right now, you're just puking everywhere and got the stomach bug. So I'm glad I'm not in Charlotte right now because that would probably be me. I just want to say thank you again to Moose's LZ Bar and Grill and Marlowe's Metal Fabrication. Their links are in the bio. Check their companies out. Please, if you guys did not leave yet, give this video a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and subscribe to the channel. And I know we'll probably have Jacob Allen on at some point, but we'll have Ryan Preece, Doug Coby, Erin Crocker, and maybe Bobby Santos on. If we do that, they're all going to be on at the same time. Have a little maybe roundtable discussion. But for now, that's going to do it. We might do another stream at the end of this week, last minute, or on the weekend. But got to thank Johnny Morgillo and everything he's doing to revitalize quarter midget racing at Silver City, and maybe he could spread that around. I feel like we need a good base of young up-and-coming drivers. It's more expensive ever to race in this country, and people have probably the least extra money they've ever had, with interest rates going crazy, cost of living going up. So it's a really tough time right now. But thank you guys very, very much. Check out shopdgr.com, and please subscribe. The channel is growing. I feel like what we're doing is paying off. So we'll talk to you guys later, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks. Peace out.
From Watertown, Connecticut, David Gravel.